Hi guys! So today I want to talk about the Moonshot puzzles because there's an interesting mystery surrounding them. So the mystery is, why is this puzzle bright pink? So originally, I had gone into all of this in the haul video that I posted a little while ago, but that video got so long and out of control that I wanted to break this off into its own video. And yes, as part of this research, I did end up with 3 separate copies of the Moonshot puzzle. So, okay, let's start with this deleted scene from the haul video. Oh, wow! Oh, I didn't even know this existed. So here's one of them. It is the Moonshot puzzle. Here's what it's gonna look like. It's funny, a little assembly time. And if this looks familiar, it's because I already have this puzzle, but in a different box design, and I didn't know they had ever released it in a tin like this. So an interesting thing about this copy of the puzzle is that, for some reason, the pieces have this pink overlay on them, and I don't think it's just my copy, because I've seen other photos online that look the exact same way. So I haven't actually opened this one up yet. Let's see if it's the same thing. I'm not seeing pink. Very interesting. Yeah, look at that. So this is a much more, it's not quite accurate, but it's a much closer representation of the picture on the box. Although I guess this one does look a little more red than this copy. So yeah, that's pretty accurate. The pieces actually match what's on the tin here. Whereas on this one, for some reason, they ended up bright pink. I would love to know what happened there. This is such a mystery. Okay, really quick, I just have one more piece of information that I want to share surrounding this mystery. And I totally could have done this just with photos that I grabbed online, but this showed up while I was editing the video. I got an eBay alert about what's in here, and I was like, I might as well just do an in-person demonstration of what I'm talking about. So it is a second copy of the Moonshot puzzle, but let me show you what I thought was interesting about it. So as you can see, there are editions of this rectangle box version, not the tin, where the printing is correct. Look at that. It's not pink. It looks exactly the same as the one from the tin that I showed before. Also, I didn't even realize this from the pictures online, but this box is a much deeper teal. If we look at the date, they were both released in 1967. So was this one really just a printing error? Because there's nothing on the box that would indicate that this one would be bright pink. Now, before we move on, I love playing games on my phone anytime I just need a little break from the day, which is very often throughout the day. And I bet some of you guys do too. In fact, I bet some of you are playing a game on your phone right now while you're watching this. I see you. Well, let me tell you about a way to earn rewards just from playing games. Today's sponsor is Play, a loyalty app where you can earn points by playing games on your phone and then redeem those points for real gift cards to places like Amazon, Target, Starbucks, tons of other places. I've been using Play for over a month now, and I really do love that all of the time that I spend like zoned out and just playing games can now kind of feel productive. Now, I don't want you to think that this is going to become your new side hustle, but if you're already playing games on your phone, this is a great way to turn that time into a little treat every so often, like a little fancy coffee. And yes, there is a jigsaw puzzle app on there. I know that a lot of you love doing puzzles on your phone. So you could do a bunch of puzzles on your phone, earn an Amazon gift card, and then go online and like buy a real puzzle that you've had your eye on. So if you want to try it, Mistplay is available for Android phones in the Google Play Store and as a web app for iOS users. You can go to mistplay.com/puzzles or click the link down in the description to download Mistplay for free. You'll get 200 bonus points just for signing up. Plus, you can use my code PUZZLES50 inside the app for an additional 50 free bonus points. And all of that information will also be down in the description. So now, let's get back to our bright pink puzzle. Okay, back to present day. So my first thought was that maybe there was some kind of vintage ink that's known to fade into this kind of pink color. But I did a little Googling. I couldn't find anything like that, so I don't think that's the case. So then I started thinking back to my background in graphic design and thinking about how when you print a full color image, you're printing with CMYK. And I looked super closely at these pieces and I realized that they're printing with halftone, which means that they have little dots of each of CMYK, and those little dots overlap with each other, and so when you zoom out, it looks like a full color image. So I pulled out my macro lens for my camera, and if we look at these super close up, you can see how the full color version, or like the brown version, has all of these little dots going on, while the pink version only has magenta dots. So I feel like that's step one of solving the mystery. I guess it was just a printing error where they, for some reason, only printed with magenta ink. But then the mystery is, why did this happen and why did they still sell them? So I went on to WorthPoint and I tried to look up all of the other examples that I could find of this puzzle to see if there was any correlation between the lighter box and the darker box versus the pink versus the brown puzzle. And there didn't seem to be a direct correlation, although we only have 7 examples to go off of. And also, within this small sample size, it seems like there's a pretty even number of pink puzzles versus brown puzzles. So maybe they were in the middle of printing these, and then all of the inks except magenta just ran out halfway through the run? I don't know, like, why would they still sell this? It's so weird, and there's nothing on the box to indicate that it's like a misprint or that there's anything wrong with it. Like, was it just one guy in the factory who was like, we need to produce this many puzzles, like, we're just gonna send them out and I'm just not gonna tell anyone? Did the people who bought this back in 1967, did they, like, write in and complain? Anyway, that's the crux of the mystery, but I do want to solve all of these puzzles in this video, so I'm actually going to start with the one that's in the tin, and I'm going to start here because they have this assembly time. They think if you're an expert, you can do it in 85 minutes, and if you're average, you can do it in 3 hours. But the puzzle is only 200 pieces. I feel like 200 pieces in 85 minutes is very doable. I don't know, let's see. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Let's see. All right, that took me 32 minutes, so a little less than the 85 that they predicted. Although I did have a thought while I was working on that. Do you think they might artificially inflate the times on the box just so that the people who have spent money on their product feel good about themselves and then go out and keep buying more puzzles? So maybe these times aren't quite accurate for what they really thought. It might just be a marketing tactic. But one advantage that I did have is that I've actually done a puzzle with this exact same cut before, so I'm going to talk about that later in the video. First, I'm just going to do the snowflake puzzle. Again, this time I'm trying to beat 96 minutes, so let's see if I can do it. Oh man. Okay, so I was talking a big game, but that puzzle took me 47 minutes. This one is no joke. Although I did make a mistake. So when I was sorting out these edges, I remember noticing that the puzzle wasn't cut perfectly centered. So this white edge was a little bit bigger than like the one on this side. But then that fact just entirely left my brain, and it took me until 25 minutes in to realize that I could in fact put together the edge even though they're basically solid colored pieces. And so once I had the edge in place, a lot of these going around the outside are pretty distinct, so I was able to quickly move forward. Although it did still take me an embarrassingly long time to get the center connected to the edge. So I wonder if I could have done it a little faster if I had just done the edge right from the beginning instead of just trying to work from the inside out. Also, another interesting thing I noticed is that on the box, look at all of those corners. They're very rounded. And then I immediately noticed when I started putting this together that all of the corners are very sharp. So it's a slightly different image than what you think you're getting from the box. So, okay, next I think I'm also going to speedrun Barbie's Dream Moon because I want to see if I can do it. If I can do the pink version any faster than I did the brown version. Or slower, just, you know, see what the difference is, since it's basically an entirely different puzzle. Oh my gosh, I did it. I beat half an hour. I did that in only 27 minutes and 50 seconds. So I do think it is partly just from getting more familiar with the piece cuts, but also I think just having the pink ink made this a little easier than the regular one. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. First, I'm going to go ahead and do the very last version, the regular 1967 one, and then we can do a full comparison. And I'm not going to speed run this, I'm just going to do it for fun. I feel like I've already done enough speeding through all of these puzzles. All right, so here are the two puzzles next to each other. They almost don't even look like the same image. So what I was saying before about the pink one is that I think it was actually easier than the brown, because if you look at this one, all of this area looks very similar to each other. Whereas here you have this very dark pink section, you have this kind of medium section, and then all of this texture in here. So I think this image was actually much easier as a puzzle. But look at this, you can see so many different like craters in here that you just don't get in the regular image. So next I want to talk about some other puzzles that were released with this similar packaging, because I think it is beautiful. I love the font choices. I just think it looks really nice. So let's start with the Purple Passion puzzle. I actually had this puzzle on loan from a viewer, and so a couple months ago I filmed myself solving it and then sent it back to her. The plan is to use that footage in a video about all three of the Purple Passion puzzles, but it's just gonna take so long to solve those other ones since they're 500 pieces instead of 200, so I've just been putting that off. But anyway, the Purple Passion puzzle was packaged exactly the same as the Moonshot puzzle. It's interesting how all of the info is here on this sticker that they just put on a plain box. So I'm sure they saved a lot of money doing it that way versus doing fully custom boxes. And so the purple puzzle has a date of 1967, the same as the Moonshot puzzles. Okay, so then there is only one other puzzle that I've been able to find with this exact same packaging. It is this polka dot puzzle, and this one low quality photo from WorthPoint is the only evidence that I can find of it existing. So it's literally only those three that I've been able to find to make up this Master Puzzler Challenge series. So another thing to note is that on the box they have this little blurb saying that you'll get a certificate of merit for completion of this puzzle. They say that they feel special recognition should be given to anyone completing it. A photo or other proof of completion can be sent to this address. And so I'm just over here like, what other proof of completion is there? I guess maybe if you wrote a letter promising that you really did solve it, they might believe you. Or maybe you could sort of trace around every piece, and if you can send them like a full drawing of the die cut, that'd be pretty good proof. So I really want to know. Go ask your parents or your grandparents, anyone who was puzzling in 1967, ask them if they ever did these puzzles and what the certificate of merit, what it looked like. I'd love to see one. And then going back to the tins, so American Publishing released a lot of puzzles in this pop art series, and they also released a lot of puzzles in cans. Like, this is not even close to all of them. This is just a small example. But for this video, I'm just looking at the ones in these wide, squat tins with this pop art branding on the front. And after looking on WorthPoint and looking through all the listings from the guy who was selling these, I think it might just be these two. Now, I'm not saying that definitively because American Publishing released so many puzzles that it feels like new ones are constantly popping up. So there definitely could be more out there. It's a little weird if they only made two. I don't know. If anyone has ever seen another one, please let me know. But anyway, the teeny tiny branding on these tins say that they came out in 1966. So actually, that's before the ones in the boxes. Now, in terms of the piece cuts, I was going to come on here and say that every single puzzle had the exact same cut, so they were clearly cut with the same die, and they definitely have the same shapes of pieces. Like, the die cut is very similar across all of them. However, I wanted to do the thing where I trade pieces between each of the puzzles and get like a new design out of it, and then I realized they're not quite the same, so the pieces aren't interchangeable between any of these four puzzles. Some of them are very close, but it's just not quite perfect. But again, the cut for the Purple Passion puzzle is, if not from the same die, at least the same shapes. And you can tell a very distinctive aspect of this die cut is that these lines extend past some of the shapes, and so you end up with these very distinctive little nubs. And of course, if we look at the purple puzzle, that one has them too. So I do think doing the purple one first gave me a little bit of an advantage with these, just because I kind of knew what types of shapes to look for, and that like the bigger pieces would be on the outside and they get smaller towards the middle. And I'll just tell you guys, because I really don't know when I'm going to be making that video. The Purple Passion puzzle took me an hour and 2 minutes, which is double the time that the moon puzzle took me. Oh, and one more thing that I wanted to mention about the piece cuts. So I pulled out this very distinctive shape so that you can see how I lined up the die cut. And then if you look at these 3 craters, you can see how the same image was printed at a different orientation, you know, basically upside down from each other, between these 2 versions. Also, they definitely had some kind of edge tolerance, because look at this one. You see a lot more of this crater than you do over on this one. So one more thing, I also found photos online of this puzzle called Planets of the Universe, and it uses the same die cut even though it's not part of the same series. In fact, this one has a box that is the exact size of the puzzle, so it can sit inside it completely flat, which I haven't really seen before from this company. So I'm telling you, American Publishing released so many puzzles that new ones are always just popping up online. So whether or not it was the exact same die, it seems like they were using the same shapes in 1966 and 67. But then when we hit 68 and they're releasing the puzzles in the skinnier cans, they get a brand new die, which you can tell from this center section being broken up into 3 pieces. So, okay, I think that's all I wanted to share. I just cannot get over that half of the moon puzzles were sold bright pink. That's so crazy. They have to have known. Someone has to have known. Why would they still release this? That's wild. So let me know down in the comments, what is your best explanation for what you think happened? The wackier the better. You know, maybe a competing puzzle company snuck in and was sabotaging the ink cartridges, but they got caught before they could do the magenta one. So your code word for the comments will be moon, and I'll see you guys in the next one.